Those are some really strong waves out there. I'll tell you something though, when I used to come here with my coworker, there were some rocks out there and they look like they're close, but they're actually quite far. We used to come out here and swim out to those rocks. It would take every bit of energy I had, and I was young and in shape. And yeah, great workout, but we'd swim out to the rocks and sit out there and sunbathe for a while. Something else to keep in mind is, if you look far enough that way, you can see Japan. I mean, it's right over there. If you had told me when I was young that I would live in a beach town on the east coast of Korea, I would have never believed you. After 15 years, I thought it would be fun to revisit this city by the sea and share some memories and reflect on my time there and how it made a lasting impression on my life. So I keep seeing this mega coffee place around the city here and never heard of them before. And Korea has lots of their own coffee chains, so it must be something new, but it seems very popular, so today I'll give it a try. You can actually see why they're so popular. It's actually pretty cheap. And they have a lot of different options. So moment of truth now, see what this stuff tastes like. It's got an interesting lid though. Oh, not bad. Today is going to be an exciting day as I'm leaving Seoul, getting on the high-speed KTX rail and heading to one of my old hometowns here in Korea, and that is Gangneung, which is on the east side of the country on the coast. So it's nearly impossible to miss your train because they have all these jumbotron screens like the one right behind me right there, which tell you the time, the track number, and the train number. So you really don't need to worry about missing your train at all. Just looking for car number 10 now. I think it's at the very end of the platform. But there are like people out here helping you get on board the train so you can ask if you're lost or you're confused. Someone they said standing room only. I didn't realize it would actually be this crowded. I mean, people have like blankets set up on the floor here in between the train cars. It's great. I feel like I'm 30 again. Finally arrived here in one of my old hometowns, one of the cities I've lived in. Oh, but I gotta say, I'm so glad to be off that train, especially without a seat. I may never do that again. I'd rather just wait for a later train. Or just remember to buy early or book your ticket early. Don't wait like me until the day of. Well, I was saying before, this train station did not exist until just a few years ago. And it's just really crazy because it's so massive. Korea has held the Olympics twice, once in Seoul in 1988, and then very recently they actually had the Winter Olympics right here in Gangneung. And the reason for that is because, again, they're surrounded by mountains. They have lots of places to ski and do those winter sports. So that's exactly why they got this train station. I just wish they had it years ago when I was living here back in 2009 and 2010. Now what I'm going to do is head over to the bus and taxi station here, and I'm actually going to grab a city bus to go over to the express bus terminal because that was near my old apartment and my old job, And it's a great way to show you exactly where I went when I had to travel outside the city back then, because it was only a bus station. I finally got on the bus. It only took me about 1 hour of waiting. Starting to recognize a lot of these streets here. The funny thing is, the whole 2 years I spent here, I never once took the bus. All right, I managed to finally get to the express bus terminal. Oh, gotta cross the road over here. Now you're gonna see exactly how I went back and forth between Seoul and Gangneung for several years. So we were just over at the new train station, but for years this has been the way to get in and out of this city from other parts of Korea. This bus terminal, and I'm going to walk inside really quick so I can freshen up, use the bathroom, probably put on some sunscreen. It's really hot here today and sunny, and if you notice, I already took off my outer layer because we're going to do a little bit of walking now. It is actually amazing how little has changed about this station in the time I've been gone. I mean, it's been 15 years, and it still looks the same. Buy your tickets right there on a timetable. Just walk out the door really quick so you can see the platform. And it's empty right now. Guess there aren't any buses going anywhere for a bit, but there are people waiting. Just want to point out really quickly that taking the bus, while it's an hour longer, instead of 2 hours, it's 3 hours. It honestly isn't bad because the seats on these buses are great. They're very comfy, very large, and it is cheaper than the train. Okay, but now, like I promised, I'll take you on a walk. Actually, I used to get off at this terminal and I would just walk over to my apartment because it's just around up a hill and then kind of around a bend. Let's go over there and see if that building still exists. Living in a place like this, a smaller city that's quite far from Seoul, you're not going to get quite as many expats living out here. And English is not as widely used or spoken. I mean, it is used a little bit. But I think one of the best parts about that is the fact that when you live in a place like this, you're actually forced to kind of learn the local language wherever you are in the world and make friends and just live on the economy, as they say, I guess. Really take it all in, and it becomes part of who you are. Helps you grow as a person to understand another culture, another people. And understanding a language is a great way to do that. I had started learning Korean 10 years before this, but I feel like when I came here in 2009, this is really where my level of reading and writing and speaking really improved a lot. Mostly my reading, because I learned, anybody can learn a Hangul alphabet. It's really not that hard. It takes a few weeks and you can get it done. But speaking and writing can be a bit more challenging, and understanding can be hard too. So there's a lot of, I can read pretty much everything I see, right? Like all the Korean signs, I can read them, which helps again because there isn't a lot of English translation for the places here. And when I can read those names, I know where I am, where I'm going on the bus, stuff like that. You see those high-rise buildings over there? Those are all new apartments. They were not there when I lived here. In fact, all you could see here were the mountains, and it was just gorgeous. I mean, they're still there. They're just behind the buildings. But this area across the road there, that was totally undeveloped. I think that's something else about Korea, is that, and in Asia too in general, is there's a lot of development going on here. So each time I come back to visit a place that I know or I think I know fairly well, it's always different. Not totally, but enough has changed that I'm not quite familiar or I'm very surprised by things that I see. But yeah, none of that there 15 years ago. Now we're coming into kind of more of the city part of the area where I live. Probably just a few more blocks up that way and I can walk back to my apartment. Now, I'll be honest, my memory is not fantastic, which is exactly why I'm making these videos now, so I can remember things better. But I believe it's back a little further here. Aha! That is it right there. This building, the 3 stories with the windows, I lived on the 2nd floor of that building. That was my apartment. Oh, what do you know? I found it. And the entrance is just around the side over here, I think. Yep. Exactly where I left it. Just gonna go over here and take a look, but yeah, not gonna go inside. Now that we got that out of the way, I can take you over to where I worked, because I can actually walk there too. Yeah, right down that street over there, there's actually a local grocery store. It's not a big chain or anything. It's just kind of the one where everybody shops, or a lot of people shop that live in the neighborhood. All right, so I'm not far at all now from my school, actually. I think it's across this street right here. I just go down a couple blocks, and that's where I worked. Almost there. I sometimes wonder where I get my love for cherry blossoms, and then I think about living here and having so many of them to enjoy. So the entire outside of the building has kind of changed. It had like a big glass window, but they've put stuff over that, like advertisements maybe. It looks like it's actually like an after-school program for a coding camp or something, or robotics. So still in the realm of teaching, but just a different kind of subject. That's it right there. That building where those glass windows are, where the big yellow banners are in front of them, that was where I taught English. And if you look down the street here, there's a massive complex. That's actually a big elementary school. So the students would get done with school and then come over to us to learn English at the end of the day. It is really interesting to see this again. But at the same time, you know, it's gone. But I've got a lot of memories in there. A lot of days that were long and hard, but also fun. You know, a lot of kids that I got to mentor and tutor. And this was actually the first place I ever taught in Korea. I ended up teaching in Seoul after this, in 2 different schools. But this was the start of it. This is where I learned what being an English teacher was all about. And it was, I'll tell you, that year was really rough because I had a very high learning curve to get over because I'd never done it before. And I should thank the school for being so tough on me because they really made me a better teacher, honestly. So one thing I do want to point out is if you keep going down that street and then turn right and you just keep going, you'll actually end up at the beach where we're going to head a little bit later. And that's what we would do when we got off work here. We would just jump on our bikes and ride over, and it was like maybe 15-20 minutes tops. But yeah, more good memories. Right now though, I think I need to pick me up, so I'm going to go to a cafe right over here called Angels and Us. All right, got my coffee, and now it's time to go out and get to the beach. Yeah. So I am going to stop walking at this point because that beach is just a little bit far. And I'm going to grab a taxi. You know, they're really not that expensive here, so I could have just been taking the taxi all day instead of the bus. I just wanted to try it, you know? Something new and different. So over here, you can just get these fantastic views, especially the mountains over there behind the lake. And you can walk around it. They actually have a really nice walking, biking trail here. And you can also rent these kind of four-person bicycles that families come out and get on and just pedal around the entire thing. It is actually pretty big, so it would take a while. But definitely worth it if you're just trying to enjoy the outdoors. Something else that I've always loved about this lake is that as you walk along, there are these little statues all around it. And in this particular section right here, the statues are actually about this traditional, I think, love story that is associated with the lake itself. I don't know if you can see it, but out there is a tiny little island with a little pagoda on top of it. And that's quite famous here in this lake. Now that big white hotel over there, that building, that was never there when I was living here. I think they built that specifically because the Olympics came here. And it looks cool, I guess, but I do feel like it's a bit of an eyesore, especially if you're not used to seeing it there. But the ocean is right in front of that. This is a beach town, and like any good beach town, there's a ton of tourists here, especially during the summer months. And it does get quite busy. Today it's actually not bad at all, but it's also a little bit before peak travel time for the summer. This is one thing I've always loved about this beach, actually, is that it is covered in evergreens right before you get to the sand. They don't go surfing at this beach, but there is one just up the way. I can't think of the name of it right now, but they do actually surf here. And I did try it. The only time I've ever been surfing was actually at the beach up the way. And it was fun, but I was terrible at it, so I haven't been surfing again since. And here you can actually see this boardwalk that I'm walking on that goes on, through all these trees here. Yeah, rather than sitting over there on the beach, I much prefer this. It's just cool, lots of shade, not so many people, just relaxing. Now we'll continue to walk down here for a ways. I mean, you could go quite far, but since I'm just walking, I don't have a car or a bicycle, I'll just do a little bit today. But I'll point out the fact that there's another street right here that runs along the boardwalk, and there you're going to see lots and lots of like restaurants and shops over there. So again, if you're out here on vacation, this is actually the perfect spot to get seafood if you're in Korea. I almost feel bad for people that don't eat seafood, because if you come out here, almost every restaurant is just seafood. I mean, I'm sure you can find some other stuff. Like I just dropped into a 7-Eleven and just grabbed some snack food. But just be aware that if you come out here, I mean, seafood is good and it's healthy, so it's not bad. But if you really don't like that, you're just gonna have to look a bit harder to find something else. That Hotel Juno looks like it's been here quite a while, probably seen better days. But there are a lot of options for hotels down here. coming up here, there's going to be a area that's a bit more rocky and a bridge that we cross over. I think I just got about as close to the water as I want to today. I didn't bring anything to swim in, so if I get wet, I'm in trouble. Hey, it came pretty far, actually. It is getting just slightly windier. I'm not even sure if you can hear that or not, but this is me crossing this bridge. As we're making our way across, you'll see there's more restaurants here, and there's another beach down here as well. Seems like there's more people over on this beach. Must be more popular. But the other one that I took you to first, that's where I used to hang out. Well, I've lost most of my shade, no more of those big evergreen trees. And I'm getting kind of tired, so I think I'm gonna look for another taxi and get us back into the city, go downtown for a little bit. All right, a really short and cheap taxi ride, and I am back in downtown Gangneung, and I am right next to the big mall here. There is a movie theater, a lot of little shops, and then there's Home Plus, which if you've never been in there, that's kind of like a Walmart here in Korea. All right, now that I had a little fun inside, I'm just gonna walk around the downtown here and show you what it looks like. It's actually really nice. It's a lot of little streets, a lot of pedestrian areas, and just people out and about doing their daily lives. Much quieter than Seoul. Honestly, I needed that though after being there for a week now. Now over here across the street, you can see a sign above. I think that's a marketplace right there actually. It smells really good. I don't know what it is, but it might be the different foods and vegetables they have, all these sellers. And there are actually different ways to go, so I think I'll go this way. Kind of a bit of a maze, but I like the fact that it's covered from above. It's another part of the market right here. Really hard to know which way to go here. You can actually go to these traditional markets pretty much anywhere in Korea, but I think they are a bit more authentic when you're not in Seoul or Busan and you're actually out in the countryside. I started to think for a second, have I actually even been here? But I have. I'm starting to recognize more of these streets as I get away from the kind of hustle and bustle. And I think there's actually a river coming up here, which you can walk to and just kind of check out. I think there's a small river walk. Okay, here's the other side, and here's the river. It's also a parking lot. In fact, it's a massive parking lot. I'm guessing for all the shoppers here that came from out of town. Well, here's that river I was telling you about. It's actually very, very shallow. I mean, it's wide across, but you can probably walk over it. It's maybe 3 feet deep, maybe. All right, I'm coming up to a pedestrian bridge that crosses over this river. Maybe I'll just walk a little bit, but I need to come back this way, so I shouldn't go too far. Well, if you look down that way, you can actually see the mountains back there. I guess I really couldn't have asked for better weather. I mean, it is a bit sunny and bright, but there's a breeze here again coming off the water. Actually, it looks really clear. All right, time to go back into the other side of the city where all the stuff's happening. It's actually really quiet right now. You know, a lot of people aren't going out to eat yet. It's still pretty early. People aren't off work for another hour or two. Everything that I'm kind of seeing so far has just been geared towards shopping or cafes, but there is kind of like a small nightlife area somewhere in here. It's kind of a maze, so I can't remember exactly how to get there, but if I keep walking around, eventually I'll find it. Well, this is a pedestrian-only area again. I think it might be back here somewhere. Yeah, you're not really getting the full effect of this street right here, but this is definitely where I would come out to bar hop with the rest of the youth. Of course, though, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, a nightlife area is not going to look the same as, you know, say 8 or 9 o'clock at night, but I think this is kind of the center of it, actually. There's a little circle there, and yeah, streets get a little bit more narrow. And a few more of these bars starting to pop up. I'm a little bit lost and turned around, but there is one restaurant in particular that I'm looking for back here that I'd say is one of the best I've ever eaten at, ever. Oh my gosh, I found it. Now they serve a dish that is traditional for this region of the country called duck kalbi. And it is a fried chicken with vegetables and cabbage in like a sweet, spicy sauce. And it is just amazing. They can even add some cheese to give it some extra flavor. But this place in particular does it really, really well. So they are open, but there's nobody in there right now. It's a little bit early for dinner. So maybe I'll keep walking a bit, just relax somewhere for a minute, and then come back here for dinner. I'm not sure what this building is across the street, but it looks like a traditional Korean temple. And it might be the perfect place for me to go for a little while as I wait to eat dinner. I think this could actually be a working temple here, maybe Buddhist. And then some older looking buildings back here. These actually look older than the main gate over there. There is a little trail back here though that I think goes up to a pavilion on a small hill. That might be a nice spot to rest for a minute if it's not busy, but so far I haven't seen a single person here. And this whole complex is really just in the middle of the city. It's kind of interesting. Another little oasis. Wow, this place is amazing. It is so peaceful and serene up here. I mean, I could just stay here all day and relax. Meditation time complete. I'm feeling a bit better now. Got some rest. Charging up all my equipment so that my camera doesn't die, and neither does my cell phone. And I think it's time to go grab some dinner. It's still a little early, but that's okay because then I'll have to grab the train back to Seoul. This was really just a day outing, but if you want to do more, there's so much. There's so many different little towns and cities along the coast. I wanted to actually do more, but I have to get back to Seoul so I can meet someone tomorrow. Anyway, food. Luckily the restaurant's not very far, it's just across the street over there. Should be the next street on the right. Oh, there it is. Found it again. It really wasn't that far away, actually, just like 1 minute from that temple I was just at. So this is one of those dishes that I ate early on when I came to Korea. One of the first Korean foods I ever had, and I just fell in love with it from the first bite. So this dish basically consists of marinated chicken in spicy and sweet sauce, as well as cabbage and other vegetables that are added. There's some sweet potatoes in there too, as well as some of these longer rice cakes. And once it kind of fries down, it's going to be so delicious. So it's kind of funny, when I walked in the door here, the first thing I did was ask me where the other person was, because this dish usually feeds at least 2 people. It's quite a bit of food, but I'm here by myself, so I just told her that I could handle eating both portions, which I'm not sure if I can, but I'll try. Something else I noticed right away is that there is no floor seating anymore. That's kind of a traditional way to eat in Korea, is to sit on the floor and eat at a very low table. They used to have those here, but it looks like they've taken them all out and just have more of these small tables with 2 chairs at each one. I guess that way they can just serve more people. And that right there is a seaweed kind of soup, but it's actually in cold, kind of pickled water, so it tastes kind of pickled. The little slices of lettuce, I'll show you what to do with those in a minute. That's actually going to be, you're going to use those as a wrap for the kalbi when it's finished. And it's getting really close. Yeah, the lady just told me this is ready to eat now, so. And you could just pick it with your chopsticks, pick it up and eat it. But the other way to do it is to use that lettuce over there, which I'll show you in a second after I try a piece. Real hot. Perfect. Okay, we'll just do the lettuce really quick. You can see that. Just take a piece like that. And I'm going to get another piece of chicken here with maybe a little bit of that cabbage. Going to use some of the sauces over here they put here. Like that. Now I'm just going to wrap this up. Make like a wrap like that. I'm going to stuff the whole thing in my mouth and chew it up in a sec. Oh my, I am so full now. I thought I could do 2 portions, and clearly my stomach is not that big anymore, or what's the expression? My eyes were bigger than my stomach. Anyway, I've got to get over to the train station now and catch what might be the last train back to Seoul tonight. Just walk back through this neighborhood really quick. Alright, back on the main drag here. I should definitely be able to find a taxi soon. I think that train leaves in about an hour. If I miss that, it might be a 3-hour bus ride, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. That's the only way I ever did this trip before they put that train out here a few years back. Alright, just got back to the train station. What a fun outing this was, in a way to kind of reminisce. You know, I'll probably come back out here at least once every couple of years, hopefully, and enjoy this. Oh, and the weather's finally cooled down. I wish I could honestly stay longer, because there are so many great little towns and mountain hikes and all kinds of stuff to do over on this side of the country. But I've got to get back to Seoul to meet somebody tomorrow, so can't stay. But it's been fun, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video as well. Thanks for joining me. Stay safe, healthy, and happy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me today. Life's a journey meant to be shared. Remember to always travel with an open heart and an open mind. Enjoy the ride and keep your eyes on the horizon for the next adventure. I'll see you out there.